Why did the king of pop turn his back on his own country? Michael Jackson was loved by billions. He changed music, fashion, and culture forever. But in a shocking move, he stopped touring in America. No stadium shows, no massive concerts, nothing. And this wasn't by accident. Behind the lights and the applause, something darker was happening. The very country that made him a superstar slowly turned against him. So what really happened? Why did Michael Jackson refuse to ever tour America again? The answer will shock you. America made him, then turned on him. Michael Jackson didn't just become famous in America, he became a phenomenon. From the moment he stepped on stage with the Jackson 5, the US couldn't get enough of him. His solo tours, especially the Bad Tour, broke records and sold out stadiums across the country. He was everywhere: TV, radio, magazines. America had crowned him their king of pop. But something started to shift after the Bad era. The love from his homeland didn't feel the same anymore. The media began to change its tone. Headlines weren't celebrating his music anymore. They were questioning his appearance, mocking his voice, and digging into his personal life. Michael noticed. And he wasn't just hurt, he was confused. How could the same country that built him up be the first to try and tear him down? And that was just the beginning. The media attacks begin. As the 1990s began, Michael Jackson was still the biggest entertainer on the planet. His Dangerous album dominated charts, and his Super Bowl halftime show was watched by over 100 million people. But while his global fame continued to rise, something ugly was brewing back home in America. The media had stopped celebrating his talent and started targeting his personal life. Instead of focusing on his music, headlines mocked his appearance and labeled him with cruel nicknames like Wacko Jacko. His changing skin color, caused by a real condition called vitiligo, was turned into a punchline. His soft-spoken voice, his childlike spirit, even his generosity were all twisted into something strange. Even when he visited hospitals, donated millions, or spoke about healing the world, the media chose to question his motives. Michael wasn't just being criticized, he was being publicly torn apart. He once said, "The press has made me out to be this monster. I've tried to be kind, to do good, but they don't care." It was clear, the media was no longer on his side, and just when things couldn't seem worse, came the breaking point. The 1993 accusations changed everything. In 1993, Michael Jackson's world was shattered. That year, allegations surfaced that would forever change how the public viewed him. It didn't matter that no charges were filed, or that the case was settled with no admission of guilt. Once the media had their story, the damage was done. Tabloids exploded with speculation. Late-night hosts made cruel jokes. News stations covered the story non-stop, treating accusations as facts. For Michael, it wasn't just a scandal. It was a betrayal by the country he called home. He had spent his entire life entertaining America. But now, many turned on him overnight. He lost endorsements, faced boycotts, and watched his legacy be questioned. The emotional toll was enormous. Behind the scenes, he struggled with stress, insomnia, and depression. He even canceled parts of his Dangerous World Tour just to focus on surviving the storm. Michael later said, "I am totally innocent, and I am very upset and hurt by these false allegations." But in America, the presumption of innocence didn't seem to apply to him. The media didn't wait for truth, they fed on controversy. And that's when Michael made a quiet but powerful decision. If America couldn't see the truth, maybe it didn't deserve the show. Overseas, he was still worshipped. After the pain of 1993, Michael found something he desperately needed: love. But not from the country he grew up in, from fans overseas. When he toured outside the US, the response was overwhelming. In Europe, Asia, Africa, and South America, people lined the streets just to get a glimpse of him. Presidents welcomed him, soldiers saluted him. Fans cried just seeing his silhouette on stage. During the History World Tour in the late 90s, Michael performed in over 35 countries. But not a single one of them was America. And it wasn't because he couldn't sell tickets. He could have filled any stadium in the US. It was because he no longer felt at home there. In cities like Bucharest, Seoul, and Cape Town, he wasn't treated like a pop star. He was treated like royalty. Giant parades, award ceremonies, and even spiritual blessings were given in his honor. To many countries, Michael Jackson wasn't just an entertainer. He was a global ambassador for peace and unity. He didn't need America to prove who he was. He had the world. The This Is It tour proves the point. By 2009, Michael Jackson was ready for a comeback. After years away from the spotlight, he announced what would be his final curtain call, the This Is It tour. The world went into a frenzy. Over 750,000 tickets sold out in just a few hours. But there was something unusual about the tour. Every single show was scheduled in London, not one performance in the United States. This was the biggest comeback in pop music history, and he chose to do it overseas. Why? Because Michael still didn't feel safe performing in America. Not physically, not emotionally, not spiritually. In private conversations, he admitted he didn't trust the press, the legal system, or the industry that once cheered for him and later tried to destroy him. London, to him, felt like a safer stage, a fresh start, a place where fans still saw the music, not the media noise. He could have chosen New York, Los Angeles, or Vegas, but instead, he chose London, because that's where he felt loved. And tragically, This Is It would never come to life. Michael passed just weeks before the tour began, but his decision to stay away from America spoke louder than any words ever could. Michael spoke about it, quietly. Michael Jackson was never the type to openly rant or seek revenge, but behind the scenes, he was heartbroken. In private conversations, some of which were later leaked, he spoke about how deeply the attacks had affected him. He said things like, "They don't love me here anymore, and America doesn't understand me." These weren't just sad words. They were words of a man who felt abandoned by the place he once called home. A man who gave everything to the world, and still got torn down. He confided in close friends that the constant lawsuits, false stories, and betrayals had worn him down. He felt like a prisoner in his own country, constantly watched, judged, and used. Michael wasn't running from his fans. He was running from the pain. And even though he smiled on camera, the truth was, he never fully healed from the wounds America left behind. The system broke him. For Michael Jackson, fame came at a cost most people could never imagine. Behind the platinum records and sold-out shows was a man under constant attack. He wasn't just dealing with media lies, he was drowning in lawsuits. Every year, 50 to 60 new cases were filed against him. People accused him of everything from fake paternity claims to stealing songs, all in hopes of a quick payout. And many of those cases came from the very country he once proudly represented. The same country that should have protected him, investigated him. The FBI kept files on him for years. Tabloids paid people to make up stories. Former staff members sold lies to the press for money. He was a global icon, but in America, he was treated like a target. Michael once said, "I'm tired. I'm really, really tired. They keep pushing and pushing." And at some point, the system didn't just fail him, it broke him. That's why he walked away. Not from music, not from fans, but from the very system that tried to destroy him. Michael Jackson didn't hold a press conference to announce it. He didn't write a letter or make a public statement. But through his actions, the message was loud and clear. He was done with America. The stages that once cheered his name had become battlefields. The cameras that once celebrated his every move had turned into weapons. So he quietly stepped back. He gave his final performances to the parts of the world that still believed in him, the places that saw his heart before the headlines. It wasn't a fall from grace, it was a rejection of betrayal. Michael didn't leave America for fame or money. He left because it stopped feeling like home. And maybe that's the most heartbreaking part of all, that the man who gave everything had to walk away just to protect what little he had left.